Hola, otra vez bienvenidos al podcast Acá Entre Us o Acá Entre Nos. Hoy vamos a tener una plática con una buena amiga. Ella es Gloria Bernardino. Did I get it right?
Yes.
Yes, Gloria, welcome to Acá Entre Us o Acá Entre Nos. We're going to be speaking in, we call it Acá Entre Us because we're mostly talking to people that are it's not going to be all the time, that are bicultural, right? You know, you speak English and Spanish, so we speak Spanglish.
Yeah.
And we go back and forth between both languages. Like, I don't know if that's what it's like at home for you. Yeah. For us at home, like, you know, we have Sarah is going to be 9 this month of Feb. But we're like, man, why doesn't she speak more Spanish? Yeah. And then we realize we're mostly speaking English at home, you know? And then Myra, my wife, is Angelina. She was born and raised in Los Angeles, you know, like the Tupac To Live and Die in LA. Yeah. So I don't know if that's what it's like at home for you. You
guys
speak both languages?
Yes, and me atoro en el español y en el inglés.
En los dos?
So, yeah. So estoy en el medio.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do speak both.
Yeah. So Gloria, for the people that are listening, we're gonna have a conversation. We're gonna talk about life. We're gonna talk about what are some of the good things happening in your life, some of the crazy things that are happening or that have happened.
Yeah.
Some of the bad things that have happened.
Yeah.
I like to say, you know, when we're people of faith, so we, you know, I pray, you pray. There are some prayers that God has answered, and some that He hasn't. You know what I'm saying? We all have that, and so maybe we'll talk a little bit about that too. So,
yeah.
So let's start with something before we get into, you know, like Nacho Libre will say, the nitty gritty. Let's talk about a little bit of who you are, where are you from, your family, are you married, how many kids, etc. So
yeah,
tell me a little about yourself.
Well, I am the third of 6 sisters. Mi mamá tuvo 6 hijas. Yo tengo 5 hijos.
Oh, wow, okay.
I am married to my hubby, Rigoberto. Shout out.
Rigo.
Shout out to Rigo.
Shout out, Rigo.
Yeah, so we are a big family. Big family. I have 3 daughters and 2 sons.
How old are they?
My oldest is 15. Oh, she's gonna be 15, actually.
This is
December. Brianna. My Alan, he is 12, will be 13 in May. And then I have Samira, she's 11, will be 12 in May. And then I have Sohaila, that she's 9, and she'll be 10 this year. Or is she 10 already? No, she's 10. She's 10. She just turned 10. And then my baby Riggs, he's 2.
Baby Rigo.
Yeah, Baby Rigo. We call him Baby Riggs.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And so, where are you from?
I was born here. I was born and raised in LA.
In LA.
We were shuffling from LA to the Valley, so from both sides. I think the majority of the time, though, I was raised in the Valley.
San Fernando Valley?
Yeah.
What city?
Panorama City, Van Nuys, North Hollywood.
So you're a local.
Yes.
Local. For those of you that are watching, people that are watching us and they're not familiar, Van Nuys, Panorama, North Hollywood is a city. There's cities in the San Fernando Valley, and the San Fernando Valley is part of the LA County or Los Angeles. Downtown LA is about 30 minutes south of us. So it used to be a suburb. Most areas here used to be suburbs. There's a lot of areas here that's more inner city urban feel now than the suburb it used to be. So you were born and raised LA, San Fernando Valley. You have 6 sisters. Mom and dad?
Mom.
Yeah.
dad left the picture when I think I was 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were raised by a single mom, pretty much.
Pretty much. And even though when he was in the picture, it was like on and off type of thing. So we were pretty much raised by my mom.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. You have 6 sisters.
Yes.
No brothers.
No. Mm-hmm. Well, they're on my dad's side. Tenemos dos medio hermanos.
Okay. So half brothers.
Yeah, and they live out in Nicaragua.
Oh, okay.
And that's where my dad is now, in Nicaragua.
So your dad's from Nicaragua, and your mom is from
Nicaragua.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. There's some Nicas. Costa Rica in there by my grandma's side.
Nicas. Does your mom make gallo pinto?
Yes.
She does?
Yes, and I think that's what she's been cooking mostly
really?
Lately. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like gallo pinto.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
What's another traditional dish from Nicaragua your mom makes?
You know what? I'm not.
You're not?
No sé.
You know what? I had...
Siempre me dice, pero se me olvidan
Yeah, I had like no idea you were Nicaraguan. Because since I've met you, you sound more Mexican to me. Your Spanish is more Mexicano, so I don't know if...
Well, maybe because I've been around...
San Fernando Valley.
Yeah, Mexicans a lot.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, yeah.
And Rigo, your husband?
He's Mexican.
He's
Mexican from Colima.
Was he born there?
No, well, his parents are
so he's a Mexican-American.
Yeah.
Es Pocho.
Hey.
Pocho. There you go. That's cool. So, yes. Gloria, tell me a little bit, how was growing up?
Crazy.
Yeah. That was crazy.
Well, we moved from LA to the San Fernando Valley to LA. There was times where we were with my grandma and y otros tiempos estábamos con mi papá. Mi papá no estaba bien, siempre en las drogas. So when he would, be not good, we would move with my grandma. So she would take us in a lot. And
so your dad and your mom were together?
And yeah, for 19 years. Mm-hmm.
But he was in drugs. He was using, what was his drug of choice?
Crack.
Yeah. Okay.
Así de chiquita, pues, yo no sabía, what it was. But we would see Dad that he was odd. With his mouth moving crazy and his eyes. Yeah, he was just high. And we right away knew something was wrong and he wasn't Dad.
So you're the third of 6 sisters. Mm-hmm. You have 3 younger sisters then, or 2?
Yeah, 3 younger.
3 younger sisters.
Mm-hmm, and 2 older.
And how old? So when you would see your dad, using drugs, now it's crack, but then you just knew it was something.
Yeah.
How old were you? Like that you can remember, because there may be things you don't remember, but what's the age you kind of noticed that? Do you remember around how old you were?
Maybe 7.
And so then your little sister, so you had really little sisters.
Oh yeah. Apart from my dad being like a drug user, he was very abusive with my mom. So I do remember that we would all get either in the room or corner up in a corner because se aventaban platos y
so there was a lot of violence.
There was a lot of violence. There was a lot of trauma that happened throughout those times. I remember my little sisters, the 5th one, she would close her ears and rock herself. It was just a very, very traumatic time. But cuando iba con mi abuela, when my mom would leave my dad for a while, we would go with my grandma. And I remember me rebelaba because I wanted to be with my dad.
This is grandma on your mom's side?
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We wanted to be with my dad because we didn't know. We didn't know any better. We thought that was just normal living, pretty much. And when we would leave, we would sorry, trying to remember. When we would leave, we would miss my dad, and we would tell my mom, like, hey, we want to go back with my dad, and he decía no. And then there was times que también mi papá, like, they would put him in jail, and so we weren't really able to see him at all. That's when he'll try to sober up, and then when he'll get off from jail, then era un hombre cambiado, so we would go back to him. So así estábamos. Pero at a very, very just, I think I was like in 5th grade is when I started like really getting rebelled, and I became a bully.
So you're about 12 years old. 5th grade, about 12, 11.
11, 12. Yeah. And so I remember that I became a bully, and especially when I moved to, like, when I went off to 6th grade. I remember telling myself I couldn't allow girls or anybody to bully me. So I had to be the tough one. I had to act tough. So I remember just trying to pick fights all the time in school. I wasn't doing good.
Why do you think that was? Do you think that was I
was mad.
Okay, you were just mad.
I was mad of how.
Did you know why you were mad?
No.
You didn't know?
No.
Now you know.
Yeah.
But then you didn't know why you were mad. You were just mad.
Yeah. I would overreact. And I would just react bad to my feelings. And if I had the chance to tell those girls, that I would fight with, bully, I was telling them I'm sorry, because just looking back, I would never want that to happen to my daughter.
Right.
So it's for a very long time, there was a lot of guilt and regret. But now I know that I'm, good.
Yeah. What school was this? What school did you go to?
So I went to Southgate.
Okay.
I went to Venice Beach, middle school or something.
Okay. That's when you lived down that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when I lived down, because we were like here, there, jumping around so often.
Sure.
Here I went to, and then I went to Redondo Beach High. No, actually that was high school, I think, or middle school. Ya ni me recuerdo. No, not Redondo. That was high school. In middle school, I went to Madison. Do you know Madison?
I've heard of it. Yeah, I think my sister went there.
Okay.
Where is Madison again?
Ethel, and in between Van Owen and Sherman Way.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Just Ethel Street. Same. I was just a bully there too. I was just doing bad. I tried marijuana at that age. I was doing dumb things like Nas. I don't know if you know any of that.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
And I went even more crazier to do computer cleaner.
Really?
Yeah. Ask me why. I have no clue. But that.
So how would you do that? What was the
crazy that we would just go with a bunch of like a little group, and we would go to Radio Shack or GameStop, and we would steal the computer cleaner, and we would just inhale it.
You inhale it?
Yeah.
Like in a bag or?
No, with the bottle.
Just like that? What would that do to you?
Get you dumb.
Yeah?
Multiple times I fell like on my head. It was so crazy.
Yeah.
And it would make you laugh.
How old
I was around 12 or 14.
Okay, so you were young.
Yeah.
And you were hanging with the wrong crowd.
I was probably the wrong crowd.
You were the wrong crowd.
No,
you were the leader of the pack.
I was not the wrong, but I was for sure, looking back, I was a broken one.
Okay.
From my friends.
Did some of your friends have some of the same background as you, maybe? Like broken home or,
they have their own stories.
Dad was a substance abuser? Or...
No.
Okay.
No. They had really, really good dads.
Okay.
Which, to like now, I admire them, for being good dads.
Yeah.
I didn't have that. So, but when I started getting into that, it was when we had moved back in with my dad when I was in middle school. So that's when we came to live down here somewhere in Ethel. Le llaman las casitas. And
what are las casitas?
Some apartments that ghetto apartments.
It's like projects.
Sorry, people. Pretty much, yeah.
It's like the projects.
Yeah.
On Van
Owen. I did live in the project as well.
I know exactly
the ones that
what
are
you're
in Van
talking
Owen. Yeah. Those were the projects, called the projects.
Yeah.
Casitas were like just little apartments.
But it's still the same feel, the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the last time we were there, my dad used to live with us. And my mom, well, she was always working on her own. And he didn't like it. He would get jealous because my mom's always done cosmetology. And I was around 12 that my dad decided to come and siempre le amenazaba a mi mamá que le iba a tirar ácido en la cara.
Oh.
And so un día estábamos con unos hermanos. They were managers there, and they're the ones that end up, getting us in that apartment. It was a 1-bedroom. So it was 1 bedroom, my mom, dad, and all my sisters.
Your 6 sisters.
Yeah. We would all like sleep on top of each other.
Sure. 1 bathroom.
1 bathroom. Yeah. In the very tiny kitchen.
Sure.
Very tiny kitchen. So we were gonna have una reunión, and crazy part that my mom tells me I wasn't there, but I can swear I was there. So I really don't know, actually. But my dad came in. We were gonna have a reunion, Bible study, I think, and my dad came in through the door. Le tiró gasolina a mi mamá. Y pues mi mamá gritando pensando que era ácido y trató de encender matches. Encendió 1, 2, 3, nada que se encendían. When it gave the opportunity for somebody to come and scare him away. Well, after that, it was like I got even more rebelled.
Do you remember how old you were?
12. Around 12, 13.
So your dad comes in, you guys are in your apartment. He comes in, and he.
Well, not in our apartment, but in his apartment, in the manager's apartment. Okay. Sorry.
And he threw gasoline on your mom.
Yeah.
And he's trying to light a match.
He lit up
light
3.
your mom on fire.
Yeah. He lit up.
And
he tried to lit up 3. They didn't all turn on. Yeah.
Wow.
He ran away. But in that week, the cops happened to get him, and they put him in immigration, and they end up deporting him in the long run. But
so you haven't seen your dad?
No, not in person. No, I end up FaceTiming with him, like maybe a year ago.
How old are you now, Gloria?
33.
So from around that age, your early teens, 12, you're not even a teenager yet.
Yeah.
You haven't seen your dad in person since that.
Yeah. Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
I'm okay. And I'm thankful that God has been my father and my provider. And I don't know. I think I'm okay. Do I want that for my kids? No, but
you have a good man.
I do.
Rigo is a good man.
Yes. I think for him every day. So yeah, I end up not knowing how to cope with my emotions.
You're just angry.
I'm angry.
All the time.
Yeah. I'm angry. No asistía a la casa. Mi mamá siempre estaba trabajando. So it was us 6 sisters that had to really take care of each other. And it wasn't... My mom tried her best with us.
Yeah.
Pero pues, we would hardly see her.
It's hard.
Yeah. We would hardly see her.
She's trying to provide for you guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A roof. She was doing it all on her own. I admire her because she has... Her story is just everything she went through. It's amazing too. And she's been my inspiration too because nunca nos abandonó. Nunca ella nunca volteó a las drogas o nada de eso. She wasn't from men to men. You know, she just dedicated her life to us, to working for us. And we wouldn't get much affectionate love from her. But I know she loved us and she loves us still.
Yeah.
So when I was 14, I want to say it was 14, I decided to start having noviazgo. And there was one particular boy, that man, which I thought he was young at the moment. He said he was like 16. Turns out that he was 18 at the time. But he asked me out. I said, yeah. You know, I remember wanting to be loved.
Yeah.
I needed attention.
Sure.
I didn't have that.
You were 14.
Yeah. And I started getting feelings. I thought it was like true stuff, you know. I was a teenager. Of course it wasn't. But in the moment, I thought I liked this guy. And I remember him telling me, like, do you love me? And I would say, yes. No, I didn't. But I would say yes. To a point that one day we went out swimming. And because I went to my friend's house, so there was an apartment. And the kids from that apartment would hang out. And so he happened to be new in that apartment. And he started hanging out, and, you know, he was trying to, you know, get with me and everything. And anyways, he asked me out. I said, yeah. So one night we went to the pool, and everybody else left. They went home. I didn't live there. I was just there. My friend went home to go change. And then we stayed behind. And then so I needed to use the restroom. And when I went in the restroom, se metió, and he took advantage of me. And I remember crying and telling him that I didn't want to have any sex or anything, and that I wasn't ready. And then he says, but you said you love me. And I said, no, but I'm not ready. And I would say, please stop. And it was just getting more aggressive. And yeah. I just remember I was on the floor of a bathroom, and he was taking advantage of me.
You were 14.
I was 14. I never told my mom. You know, as at this moment, I really don't know if I've ever shared that with her. And when I turned 17 is when I realized that was actual rape. I thought all this time it was like, oh, well, he was a boyfriend. But it's considered rape. And I didn't know that for a very long time.
So he raped you when you were 14. He was 18. What happened after that? What happened after that
I remember running.
Moment?
I remember running to my friend, and I was crying. I was in my bikini. I was wet. I was crying, and I told her what happened. And I remember her just hugging me, but she said, it's okay. You're fine. And nothing happened after that. And then I think it was the next day that I came again, and he said, I don't want to be with you no more. And my world like shattered. I was just so confused.
So he used you?
He used me, yeah. And then his mom told me that, he's 18. He's not 16. And I never told her what happened. Like, I didn't tell nobody. The only one that knew was
your friend.
Was my friend. Yeah. So, and then my mom was never home. Like, we didn't really have that relationship with her that I was able to say, like, I can come to you and tell you anything. We unfortunately didn't at the time. So, after that, I was more angry. I was more and more angry. Didn't know how to cope with my feelings. Just wanted to be out. Still kept smoking weed. Something that I never liked, but I just did it just because. So when I was 17, I met my ex-husband. He was 23, 26 at the time.
So you were 17. So you were 14 when this first boyfriend, was he your first boyfriend?
Yeah.
You were 14 when your first boyfriend raped you. After, when you were 14, did you continue being sexually active when you were 14?
Yes.
So then it just became you were just being sexually active. And so then when you were 17, you met who eventually became your husband.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So he's a father of my two first.
So he was 10 years older than you, though. Almost.
I want to say he is, yeah.
Yeah.
Or 6 years. Maybe I'm exaggerating. I can't even recall.
But you were still underage.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was older. I think that I ended up developing like a mature mind at a very early age. And I remember saying to myself that I just wanted like a man, not a little boy, not my age, And he, for some reason, knew me. I didn't. But anyways, we saw each other again because I saw him. I've seen him before from like my sister, my older sister, and I guess they went to school together. So she knew him. He had another child, and he just approached me, to talk. And so, yeah, we started off, talking. And I fell for him. I said, man, this guy, has a car, has a job, has his life going on. Like, I don't want a boy. Like, I didn't want a boy. I just wanted a man in my life that would just be, I don't know, take care of me.
Looking back now, do you think that desire was because you didn't have that from your dad?
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I was craving the man in my life.
That care from a male figure.
Right. A care from a male, yeah. So it was, I got pregnant when I was 18. So I had Brianna when I was 19. When I got pregnant, my mom said she just did not want me in the house because she didn't want him in the house. And I remember being homeless with him, being pregnant, because I didn't want to leave him. And
What was he doing?
He used to work for a grocery store. Okay. It was a produce place.
So he didn't really have a career. He just had a job.
Yeah. And there is history. My mom didn't like him because his mother was the one that would sell drugs to my dad. So my mom did not like the family since the beginning. And I didn't know this. She would tell me, but I didn't know anything of it, right? So when I got pregnant, I had a very, very bad pregnancy, where at 4 months, Brianna ya se quería, my cervix was just dilating at an early age and at an early stage, sorry. And then they had to do surgery. And I remember having contractions at 4 months and on.
Wow.
I just had to be very careful. And the majority of the time I would really be in the hospital. And then the other times we were just sleeping in the car, in a truck.
How did that feel? You're 19, you're pregnant.
It was horrible.
You're sleeping in the car.
It was horrible. It was so horrible. I would have nightmares. And in my nightmare, I would see my dad outside the window. And I would wake up scared. I don't know why I would see him, but he would just be outside the window, and I would never really catch sleep. So, and my mom would let me come over sometimes, but as long as, he wasn't with me or anything like that. And I didn't even say, actually, to go back. I started working when I was 12. I worked at the LA Times and Daily News and all that stuff. So that I always had a job. There was always something I was doing. But when I was pregnant, I wasn't really able to do nothing.
Plus, it was a very delicate, high-risk pregnancy.
Right.
So you had to chill, pretty much.
Yeah.
But you were living in a car, in a truck.
Yes. At some time, his uncle and his wife, or ex-wife, had let us stay in their living room for a while. So I was already 6-7 months pregnant. And I found out that he was selling drugs. And so, and apart from selling, he started using. And he always had done marijuana, but he started selling, I think it was pills. And one day I noticed that he was drugged. And I said, no, I can't do this to myself again.
Right.
And so I left with my mom. I decided to leave him because I told him, he needed to not do that again, but he just didn't care. And then apart from that, actually, he started being abusive. Years in, I had Brianna. I was able to get a job.
You had Brianna when you were 19.
Mm-hmm. I right away got a job because I needed to provide for Brianna. So then my sisters and my mom would help me here and there to take care of Brianna. He ended up going to jail because they found out he was selling drugs. And so for a while, he wasn't in my life. I got a place with my mom, and so I was helping, pay the rent. I was able to be with my sisters and my baby. And then he went off to immigration, and they were going to deport him, but for some reason they let him out. And when they let him out, he came and looked for me, and he, I think Brianna was 7 months, 8 months, around there. And so we ended up getting back together.
Okay.
I can't recall where we went, but we ended up getting another apartment. We got an apartment together in Wetset, and I ended up getting pregnant again. And I was so mad that I was pregnant because I was barely able to do it with one child, and he really wouldn't provide, and I was so upset. And I ended up getting postpartum depression when I had my baby boy, Alan. And until this day, it does hurt me because I didn't even know what was postpartum. But I didn't even want to carry my son. And my sisters would be like, well, just give me the papers. I'll take care of him. And I didn't want to do that because I was scared that I would change my mind. Right. But she was sort of convincing, and I really wanted to do it. Alan, he was born with a lot of health issues. It's when he was 6 years old is when I realized what those health issues were. But in that time frame, I didn't know what was going on with Alan. And it happened to be that he was going through seizures. And he has cerebral palsy. He has seizures, ADHD, short Achilles, like spasticity or something like that.
So he's got several health issues.
Yeah.
How old is he today?
He is going to be 13 in May.
He's going to be 13.
But for a very long time, my mom moved in with us, and she helped me raise Alan. My ex-husband was still in the picture. He was also living with us. My mom hated it, but at this point, she was the one living with us now. It wasn't me living with her.
Right.
So she would help out, with some funds and all, but not so much because she didn't make much.
And was he providing or no?
In a way, through selling drugs.
Okay.
Still.
So it's sort of like your story or your mom's story like repeated itself in you almost.
Yep. Yeah. Yes.
Because your dad was using drugs. There was domestic violence. Now here you are, 19, you're pregnant, you're living in a truck with your boyfriend, and then he starts using drugs. He starts being abusive towards you. Would he beat you?
So many times.
He would beat you?
Yeah, a lot. It just kept getting worse and worse in the beating area. I'd be so scared that one of the things that I would think about when I was getting beat up is just to cover my mouth because he would knock my teeth out if I didn't. But it was almost like a daily thing.
Every daily thing he beat you.
He would just throw me on the floor, kick me. He'd hit my temple so hard one time that I had to go to the hospital because then I end up developing, I end up getting vertigo because of the hit, because it was so hard. But yeah, it was really tough. I think when Alan was 2, I end up, when he was like maybe 1.5, 2, yeah, I started, being a mom to Alan, because in reality it was my mom that was caring for him, giving him the affectionate love and all. And well, I remember just wanting to party every weekend.
To party?
I would club almost every weekend. And I'd also get drunk. It was a way for me to cope at the time. Because I just remember wanting to not feel anything. I was just an angry person. I was so broken. And a way to cope with that, it was just wanting to go dance and drink. But yeah, I would come home and because he wouldn't go with me. He never wanted to go out, or at least with me. But yeah, I would come home and he'd see me drunk and he'd beat me. And he'd call me all these things and all these names and whatever. And I would just take it. I would take it. I really thought that in that moment, it was normal. I had no hope for men at all. No hope for men. We were together for 10 years. 10 years.
So for 10 years, you endured getting beat up.
Yeah.
All the time.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Until something similar happened, like my mom. It was in December 2016, where it was around my birthday. He just was so angry because he was like in a fiending mode. I don't know if you know what that is. Like he wanted his marijuana and I wouldn't give him any money. And he decided, like, we were just arguing. He'd call me a hoe. He'll call me a lot of things. And I try to like argue back, and so he got his machete, like it was like a knife, big knife, and said he was gonna stab me. And I remember telling my mom, because she would live with us at the time, I told her, grab the kids and go to the room. Like, I really don't know what's gonna happen right now. I'm gonna call the cops. And
so your mom was there?
My mom was there.
So he had no respect for your mom either?
Not at all. Le aventaba cosas también a mi mamá. But my mom was just there to... She knew she didn't have a say to tell me what to do. She would tell me, pero sabía que no tenía el control. Pero yo sé que ella estaba ahí para cuidarme. Para cuidarme. Que nada me pasara. Pero sí, también él llegó a empujarla. Well, at that time frame, I told her, just go inside the room. And so yes, I ended up calling the cops. And I was really scared for my life. I really thought that he was just...
You thought he was going to kill you?
Yeah. Yeah. You really want to think that, the man that you just spend so much time with was not going to do anything like that, but you never know. It happens all the time. And helicopters got there, cussing at me. What did you do? What I should have done a long time ago. So yeah, they took him in. And that was the end of that relationship there. Crazy part is that every time he'd beat me, lloraba yo en el baño y comenzaba a orar y le pedía a Dios que me diera un hombre que sea honesto, que me amara. And I would just start naming the type of man I wanted in my life. One that would really like que me valorara. So earlier you said, like about prayers, not all of them get answered. And so if I really think about all the prayers I've done in my life, like what I've said in my life, they have all been answered. And the ones that I'm praying for now are just in
process.
In process to be answered. But I believe that God has just really answered every prayer. Yeah, so that's the end of that chapter.
So for 10 years, Gloria, you're with this guy. Did you marry him?
I did.
You did get married.
And we got married for the wrong reasons. He never wanted to marry me.
Okay.
I always wanted that, the whole marriage and blah, blah, blah. But he never wanted to marry me. Pero cuando cayó en inmigración for the last time, he needed...
Because where is he from?
Michoacán.
Okay.
He needed for me to save him so that he won't get deported.
Mm-hmm.
So when he was in immigration, I ended up making a request for us to get married in there. But for some reason, like a couple months before, he got released and we ended up getting married outside.
Okay.
Still with the same lady that would marry you inside and all that. Sure. It was such a small ceremony. We only ate dinner and that was it. But we got married.
Mm-hmm. So you got married. You have Brianna. You have Alan.
Mm-hmm.
And you were with him for 10 years. And you could, for those 10 years, almost every day, you were getting beat up.
From what I can remember, yes. There was some good times. I'm not going to lie. There was those peaceful times where we can actually have fun with each other. But he was high. It was never when he was sober. It was always when he was in his good mood. So I knew it was fake. What was his drug of choice? It was usually marijuana, wax, on those lines. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. It's just taking me down memory lane and it's just crazy.
Yeah.
But I've always been a hard worker and I've always tried a salir adelante con mis hijos. I got my career in medical insurance billing and coding, and that's how I ended up, and as a matter of fact, when I was going to school, I was working Denny's as a waitress in graveyard shifts. There was a time frame in between the time frame that we were together, and I was trying to get my career going. There was a lot of abuse, so I had to send my kids away with my sister. And so for a while I wasn't with them, and it sort of created like this trauma with my son, because he thought I abandoned him. So when I was doing my medical insurance billing and coding career, we were also homeless. So I was working Denny's, I was going to school, and then I was sleeping in the car. And then there was also that time frame where he was in immigration, so I was by myself. So yeah, I had my little struggles, my big struggles.
Yeah.
But I thank God that in the midst of everything, like, looking back, he was there all along, because things could have gone south many, many times. And I had those thoughts of, suicide, feeling unworthy, just being depressed, being angry. I couldn't. But I thank God that His Holy Spirit would just speak to me, and He would comfort me. And the moments that I'd cry, I would just remember saying, like, God, please just hug me, because I need your hug. I need your love. I need you to comfort me right now. I need peace. And He would make it all okay. And I would always go out there working, acting like nothing has happened. Try to always put up a smile, but I was really broken. And I knew Rigo for a while, and so I ended up getting in a relationship with Rigo really fast.
How did you meet Rigo?
He is the brother of my best friend's husband. They're brothers.
Okay.
So my best friend from 7th grade. We've been friends and all this time, and she married his brother. So
you've known him?
Yeah.
Since you were a kid?
Not since I was a kid.
Or like he's been around?
Yeah. And there was times when we would talk, but never in my head would I would have thought that, me and Rigo would have been a thing. And when was it? When it was 2016, that year, Rigo.
So let me go back a little bit. So the cops come and they take your then husband after you kind of knew, if I don't call the cops, he's going to kill me. Mm-hmm. You sent your mom to the room with your babies and you were like, something might happen. So the cops come, they take him away. What year was that?
That was in December 2016.
Okay.
So, but in that year of 2016, Rigo and I became friends. Okay. And we were talking more and more and more. In August of 2016, Rigo invited me out on a date. Mm-hmm. And I was, still married to this guy. He was still in my home. Yeah. But we went away and we were just friends. And I noticed that I started getting like feelings for him, for Rigo. So when I went back home, I blocked him. I said, there's no way I can get feelings for this guy. He was so respectful. He was just, I thought it was too good to be true. And I'm like, and I can't do this. I'm married. You're married, right.
So you blocked him?
I blocked him. I remember like ignoring his calls, and he would just message me like, what's wrong? Like, what did I do? But then in December, when that happened, he happened to call me. And I told him what was going on. And so he came right away. He came right away. And after that, it was like, it was as if he took on a responsibility that wasn't even his. He started caring for my kids. And mind you, like in 2016, he was doing that already. Okay. I was noticing he was trying to like conquistarme, pero
you were married.
I was married, yeah. I did not see anything of it. And I just thought, no way. But my kids would like him, spend time with him. And so in January, he told me how he felt, and he wanted to be with me, and he'll.
So he shot his shot.
Yep. He sure did.
Rigo.
I agreed, and the crazy part is like looking back, that was fast. Yeah. That was so fast. But our relationship started like just growing super fast. That was 2017 when he asked me out. And in October of 2017, we started fostering my sister's kids. And no, let's go back. In August, we decided to get an apartment together.
Okay.
And we moved in together.
Where's the other guy now? Your first husband. Where is he?
He's now with his new family.
Okay.
Yeah. He's now with his new family. My kids still see him here and there.
But then he goes to jail. A few months later,
he gets out. Yeah.
And
he knew that.
But you're with Rigo now.
Yeah.
And then
he was sending all these threats.
Okay.
Yeah, he would send all these threats and just did not like Rigo. I mean, and the funny thing is that they knew each other back then.
Oh, well.
From soccer or something. And so, yeah, enojado, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew I needed to move out from that place that I was in. And that was in May of 2017.
Mm-hmm.
I moved out to a friend's house, and we were renting out a room there. And she's the one that brought me into the church on the way.
So you moved out, but you're...
I'm dating. We're going
dating Rigo. Mm-hmm. You get an apartment later.
Yeah. So in May that I moved out from the apartment that I had with my ex, I went to my friends, and I was there from May to August of 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And Rigo wanted to start like a family, you know, and so we decided to move in. And yeah, he took on that responsibility. But we're coming to church. He started coming to church with me. When I started coming to church, which was in May of 2017, that's when I surrendered to the Lord. And I remember coming to the church brokenhearted, heavy-hearted, surrendering, and every Sunday I would weep, you know, because I knew that this was it, that there was no more looking back to that lifestyle. So yeah, Rigo, we moved in with Rigo around October, we ended up fostering. And then really fast in 2018, we decided to take the marriage classes. And that's where he proposed.
In 2018?
Mm-hmm. And in 2019, we got married. Yeah, in Cinco de Mayo, 2019.
Did you have margaritas?
Oh, well, we didn't have. I'm just kidding. No. It was a very, very fun time. Yeah, so that's pretty much, I mean, it went all quick, you know, but when we did our pre-marriage class, which is funny because not a lot of people know this, especially our family, we wanted to be obedient, and we decided to stop having sex, stop all of that, because we wanted to be in obedience with God. And so we did. We would live together, but we stopped doing that until our honeymoon.
Wow.
Yeah. I know people would be like why too late? Right. But it was something the Lord was doing in you and him. Yeah.
So you went pre-married 2018?
Mm-hmm.
So you were living together, but you weren't having sex for how long?
Well, I think it was like months. It was, because I can't remember when we stopped going to the pre-marriage class. But it wasn't a year. It was like months.
Hey, month is a long time for a guy. Power to you, Rigo.
Yes.
But it was something the Lord was doing in you. Like, you felt like...
And I was so tired. I was tired of doing it my way. I said, Lord, if this is your will, then I want to do it right. And I want to be obedient. If you're going to bless me, I don't want to take advantage of that blessing. And so whatever I had to do, I was going to do.
Yeah.
And I told Rigo, like, I want God to be the foundation of our relationship. I don't want us to do things our way. It's like, you're either with me or you're not. Like, we can end this. And he was with it. And then he comes from a Catholic background. So there's a lot of difference. And so he felt like, he was betraying his family, so it was hard on him too. But he really wanted to do this. And yeah, he is just God sent. Yeah.
God sent.
Yeah. Yes, he's just been so supportive, encouraging, and with my kids. He fell in love with my kids. He did say that he wanted a big family. I knew I wanted a big family. And yeah, like everything just clicked. And then I go back to the prayers that I used to say in the bathroom, of the type of man I wanted. And God really answered my prayers.
When you were in the bathroom crying.
When I was in the bathroom crying.
After getting beat up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I can, go back and see how the Lord was with me and he was listening. And, and he never left me. Now we're fostering.
Yeah, tell me about that. So you got so okay. So let me do a quick recap. So you move in together. That other man is out of the picture now. Well, he'll always be in the picture somehow because he's the father of your first two children. But then you get where Rigo. You have an encounter with the Lord. The Lord starts healing you. And I'm sure the Lord is still healing things in you. Yeah. Because healing is a process, right?
It is.
It's like some people think, oh, okay, it's over. You have an encounter, emotional encounter, cry a little bit or cry for a few days and then you're good. But healing is... It takes years. Yes. It's a process of going through things, I'm sure in our conversation today, you've probably gone back and maybe there's been some things that you're like, oh, I didn't remember that, or I hadn't thought about that in a while. But, so healing's a process. So you get with Rigo, you get married. You go, quote unquote, celibate. Yeah. No sex for months. Yeah. Power to you, bro. But you're in the same household, you're building a family and you want the Lord to do something special in your life. And you decide that we're going to do it the Lord's way. Yeah. So then you get married and then the Lord is still healing things in you and in him. Your kids love him. And now you foster adopt. Yeah. Tell me about that. That's so crazy.
And again, like this all just has been happening so quick. So we started fostering because of my sister's kids. Okay. We fostered them for a few months, maybe 6 months. They got reunited with my sister. And when in that time frame, we were taking classes because we needed to be certified. And so I remember talking to Rigo about it, you know, like we were hearing things that we never, you know, hear on a daily basis, you know, the need in fostering. And so they asked us if we wanted to keep doing it. And we looked at each other, and it was just like a mutual yes, we do. And so they put our names down, so they'll call us. And so when they got reunited, they end up calling me to foster a teenager. And when they said teenager, she was 14. It took me back.
To you?
Yes. And the fact that she needed a home, it was supposed to be, I think, temporarily type of thing, which it was. But she was also like broken and lost. So I end up getting a 14-year-old. And I had her for a few months. And the most heartbreaking thing I had to do was to send her back. She ended up giving marijuana to my children. And I had to like draw the line where
you weren't gonna allow that.
I couldn't. No. Like,
especially coming from your growing up and then your relationship with your first husband.
Yeah.
Well, there's substance abuse and drugs and.
Yeah. And I said, Rigo doesn't do any of these things, you know, like, right. Why would I let somebody else? But so much love I had for her, like, it was really, really hard. You know, I cried and I said, why did I put myself into this? And, but I'm still there for her. And, we paid for her phone bill. You know, we talked to her. She comes around.
You still keep in touch?
Yeah. I like to see it now that we're like, you know, mentors and for her, and she does see it like that, and never got any resentment towards us. She knew.
Yeah.
And things worked out for her. She's 18 now. And well, after that, I remember saying, no more. We're not fostering anymore, Rigo. I'm like, this is hard. And then so then they called us for 2 other little girls, and they said this would be emergency placements. And Rigo, I had already told Rigo we were not going to do this. But then I called Rigo back. I'm like, they called me for these 2 girls, and I cannot say no. It's like, babe, are you sure? I'm like,
and emergency placement means right now.
Right now and temporarily.
Okay.
Sorry. And so we end up taking in the girls that were just broken as well. We're in 13 different homes. When they found them, you know, they were children that they were not even like in the system type of thing. No shots, no nothing.
Wow.
The oldest one, you know, had bruises in her face. The other one had just like a poopy diaper, and it was all like dry and everything. So they told us the story. It was like no way that I was able to say no to that, you know. And it has been a challenge because in the process, you know, I'm trying to heal, and then I have 2 little ones that also need healing. But how can I do this when I'm broken, or when I was broken, or something like that, right? So it's been really, really tough. But what I found that has helped us is just coming to church and serving the Lord, and just focusing our lives with God, you know.
How long have you had them now?
4 years.
Wow.
4 years. And they were supposed to be adopted already, but with the whole COVID thing, it's been taking longer. And but they just recently gave me news that it's happening soon. So
they will be officially your.
Yeah.
Daughter.
They'll be Bernardinos. Yes.
Wow. Mm-hmm. How does that feel?
Really nice. Because, again, it's been hard. It's been really, really hard. I felt at times I was like, Rigo, I'm done. I don't want to do this no more. I don't want to do this. Let's, I said multiple times, let's give them back. And he would look at me and said, are you sure you want to do that? No, you don't. I said, I know I don't, but I was mad. I would be mad. I don't want to do this.
But it's hard.
But it's so hard.
What's the hardest? What's been the hardest as you foster? A few minutes ago, you said you're taking these kids in, these little girls in, that have, they've gone through hell. 13 homes. They've all given them back.
Yeah.
Right? You would have been the 14th home.
Yep.
That took them in and then given them back. But you said earlier, we're taking these baby girls, they're sisters, right?
Yeah.
And trying to heal them while your other kids still need some healing and you still need some healing. And, and you're still trying to work things out. Like, you started a new family with Rigo. You're starting a family, and then you're adding these 2 new little persons. How did that feel? Like,
I was going crazy at some point.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was going crazy because the little one would throw 1-hour tantrums.
Wow.
Screaming her lungs out. Just hitting. It was crazy. They would destroy the whole house. Rude. It was horrible to watch. And how can I cope with that? How can I deal with that? How, it was hard. Mm-hmm. And I think that one was my hardest, having to hear her for 1 hour straight. The attitudes. And I would forget how broken they were, that they were acting like that. And Rigo would do such a good job by telling me, they need help.
Yeah.
And you can give them that.
Did it remind you sometimes of how angry you were?
Yeah. Yeah, and as a matter of fact, that the little one is why I heard this saying, if you pick on a child, it's because it reminds you of something of you. Like, and definitely I was not really trying to pick on her, but we wouldn't get along. And it was because she was acting out how I used to act out. And I wouldn't throw tantrums like that, but she was angry like that. Mm-hmm. And so it does remind me of how I was. Now, amazing what the Lord has done in their lives and in my life. I'm not going to lie. There's still that trouble where it's hard for me to give affectionate love to my children.
It is. Why is it hard?
I could give them a hug. I can give them a kiss, say I love you, have a good night. But if they want to come and cuddle with me, I can't do that. I don't.
Why do you think that is?
Maybe because I didn't have it. I want to say it's because I didn't have that. And so
do you think
to me it's like they're there type of thing. Yeah.
Do you think you're supposed to break that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it is my prayer. And
be more intentional.
Yeah. Because I know that that's what the girls need. They all need that. But the little one, she seeks that. Mm-hmm. And it's so hard. It is so hard and very it hurts. It hurts that I'm not able to give that to her, but I'm trying. I'm really trying to. She tells me, Mom, can I get a hug? So I give her a hug, but I can. I try so hard to to squeeze her, but she wants to stay there, and it's just like, I don't want you to stay here, type of thing. It's hard, but it is definitely something that I'm really working on with my kids, and to spending more time with them. You know, we got a little membership at the YMCA, and we're going together, and I'm shooting some hoops with my son. It's not too late. I know it's not too late. No. And so I know they're older, but they'll appreciate, that I'm trying.
Yeah. The reason I ask you, if I asked you a few seconds ago, if you think you're supposed to break that, kind of like if you didn't experience it, don't perpetuate that. Like, it's on you to break that thing that you didn't experience and actually have your children experience it. Because I had to do that, but with my dad. So my dad, my dad's always been a good dad. He's always been present. I can remember when I was a little kid, there was a time when, there was rough times in the marriage, and later on as a teenager, there was another season of really rough times. But my dad always said that he never got affection from his dad. And so even now that I'm older, I make it a point to hug and kiss my dad. Like, every time I see him, hey, pa, and I'll literally just plant a fat kiss on his cheek, you know what I mean? And I'll hug him. Like, I make that, it's become intentional. And so sometimes we'll be hanging whenever we go hang out at their house or holidays or whatever, I usually make it a point to sit by my dad and just put my head on his shoulder, or, you know what I'm saying? Just be around. But it became an intentional thing for me because I had to break that. And so that's why I asked you, do you think you're supposed to?
I am.
As uncomfortable as it may feel for you, like, do you think you're supposed to break that?
Yeah. Every chain that has hold down the generations of all these wrong and evil, and I know that it stops here. Yeah. And I am a healing process. I am a learning process. It's just I don't ever want to stop learning, if I see myself doing unproductive things, I'll put a line to it. Like social media, I get off, on and off. Because if I find myself more time in social media than reading a book or... Right. Yeah, I don't want it. There's so many years that I've lost in not knowing good things, good values, good habits. I don't want that life anymore. I don't want that lifestyle. I want something productive for me and successful, and for my kids as well. I don't want my kids to go through what I went through. Right now my daughter, she's 14 and she has a crush, and I tell her, like,
I was. Cuidado.
So I'm trying to be very careful and very present for that, because it's important. It's so important. It'll make a big difference in a child's life. So I'm more like I'll give you something to replace the affectionate love. And that's how I show my love.
That's like your love language?
Yeah, that's my love language.
Mine is food. And I'm sure you know that by now.
Yeah.
We should probably have some tacos here or something.
I won't be able to say anything.
Food element.
I'll be munching.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, God has done so much in our lives. And again, like there's no way where I want to stop learning. Mm-hmm. You know, here at the church, I have my mentors and I have, you know, people I look up to and see their ways. Mm-hmm. I know they have different stories than I do, but my story does not define me, and it does not. I'm not gonna look back anymore to feel sorry for my life or anything like that. I'll look back to grab strength, but that's it. Yeah, it's wonderful with the classes that we are doing together. Like, you know, Rigo and I, leading the welcome team. It's so beautiful what God has been doing, and we do spend a lot of time here at the church, you know, but we love it. Yeah. We love it. And I don't think that there's any other place I really want to be.
Yeah.
I don't crave clubs anymore. I don't thirst for that anymore. I don't thirst to get drunk anymore. I really thirst I'm thirsty for his word, for his guidance, for his wisdom.
Yeah.
That's my life now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gloria.
You're welcome. Thank you for allowing me to share.
Vulnerable. My goodness. So before we end, I want to ask you a few questions. Okay. And then shortest answer you can give. Maybe it's one word answer. Cool. So I'll tell you. Well, I won't ask you questions, but I would say a word, and then you mention what that word means to you. You know, kind of like, you know, I'm gonna say a few words, and you can just what does that mean to you? You know. So the first word will be pain. What comes to mind when I say pain?
It hurts, but it's what makes you stronger.
Okay. About hope.
We can seek hope in the Lord. The Lord will provide it. There is hope in God.
How about Rigo?
I love you.
You look at that camera and
I love you, my Rigo. Wonderful man. And he's a man of God. And I am just, again, thankful for him every day. Because he's the one that has really helped me out. And it's like I hear the Lord talk to me through him. And just sometimes he doesn't say much, but all I need is his hand in my shoulder. And it's like this calmness. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Bro, I said one word and look how everything she said about you. Everything she said about you, Rigo. Fostering.
Seek fostering. Everyone that's out there. It's just.
We should all do it.
We should all do it. There's a big need.
Yeah, I think I was reading a statistic. There's maybe in LA County alone over 30,000 children.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. We should. Yeah. I know that it's not easy. I know it's not easy. I'm glad I haven't gone crazy, right? But if we all have that love, like if we just pull that aside and care for people the way God tells us to care for them, then we can do it. And people ask me, like, how do you have 5 kids? And how do you do it? If I would have gone crazy. How does God do it? I don't know. That's a mystery.
Yeah.
But he's the one that does it. So.
Myra and I are about to start our classes.
Or your classes?
We're going to start our foster classes.
Oh, yeah. I'm so excited for you guys.
Soon. Yeah. We're praying.
Yeah. I am excited for you to get your first child.
Yes. Yes.
It's going to be great.
Sarah's excited too.
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
My Lord and Savior. And Savior is like the key word.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's what would I have been if he just wasn't with me? All those times he saved me from killing myself to all these other things that could have happened. But I knew he was there. And I live for him now. I just want to serve him, and I can't serve him if I don't serve his people. And so it's why I am where I am, and I enjoy being in the ministry. And I know there's just much more in his plans. But yeah.
And then one last question that probably requires more than a few words. And maybe you're going to have to think about it a little bit. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, man. Well, I know that the Lord is calling Rigo to do more of missions work.
Okay.
And wherever he goes, I go. And so, I don't know. I know he's working. I know God is working on both of us, but yeah, just more in the ministry.
Yeah.
There's no turning back from me. There's no more of that lifestyle. Like, I love it here. And I just want to keep serving the Lord.
Yeah.
And how can I do that? Is just being obedient, right? But where do I see myself? I don't know. Maybe in missions. I have no clue.
All right.
That's crazy to say.
You heard it here. Gloria, gracias por tu vulnerabilidad de compartir tu historia. And I know that your story is going to resonate with a lot of people. And that your pain, that I'll tell you this, hearing you talk, you are stewarding your pain correctly, if that makes any sense. Like your pain, everything you went through was absolutely horrible, but you're taking that pain and using it to help other people,
right?
And bless other people. That's what I mean by stewarding or administrating your pain, and thank you.
It is my only desire to be able to help others, and to let them know that they're not alone, and there is freedom if we just seek the Lord.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.